Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. So first year, freshman year, sophomore year, how good were you?
I was not good. If you look at my sketchbooks from back then, they were terrible.
Really?
Yeah, it's awful. In foundation year, they tell you to experiment and to do all these things. You know, I was experimenting with collage and sculpture and photography, and yeah, it was awful. And
Because you were looking for your medium still?
Yeah, and I was so inexperienced.
Yeah.
Not only in doing the task, but also in just my knowledge of
The tools
art.
and stuff. Oh,
Not the tools, just my awareness of the visual arts. I had no idea. But now I'm an addict. So, no, I was very diligent in school. That was the thing. I felt like I had an edge above everyone else, was because I was used to, you know, putting in the work and actually enjoying doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And oh yeah, I loved doing it. You know, I did it like, you know, 16 hours a day. Like I couldn't stop. I sat in every single class I could find, and then even after that, I'd find other workshops to sit in at. I was a maniac. Yeah.
So practice, that was it for you?
Yeah, but I loved it. Didn't feel like practice. It was like, oh, this is like so fun. You know? Like I can't believe I can just go into a 6-hour painting workshop, like paint this model, and then do another 3-hour drawing workshop after, and like.
Right, and I'm in school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Were you sort of inspired or impressed by your students, or were they like honestly sucky?
There were a few students that were really great, and we still all keep in touch.
Yeah.
And I think 95% of the student population, the 5% are always going to gravitate towards each other. You know, the people who work hard, have that the kind of.
What are the other 95%?
They keep the school running. They keep the bills paid. No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with dance school or anything else. You know, you're not going to become a top ballerina. You know, not everyone's going to be. Not everyone's going to make it. So. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that's the way it is. But I don't know. It might be different these days because of technology. It's really transformed everything. Because when I was in school, I was kind of on the cusp of that change. There's only one person in my department that used the computer, and he was like shat on. You know, I was like, oh, the guy
right.
uses Photoshop. Like, what a loser! Can't paint and draw. And then now look what happened. You know, it's like.
Right.
The people who stuck with oil paints, they're fossils. So.
Do you think the technology and the internet has like leveled the playing field?
Yeah, because you can learn so much and see so much so quickly. Access is key. Because in art schools, you sort of when I was in school, you kind of had to really work for it. You know, you had to go to museums, go to the shows, like kind of ingratiate yourself to the teachers, and then they showed you the cool shit. But now it's everyone has a laptop, iPad, or iPhone. Everyone has a website. Back then, like a lot of artists didn't have websites.
So you think the internet sort of benefited your career?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would not be here without having my website doing all the work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, getting all those eyeballs and spreading my work around like an STD. You know,
it's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Did you start doing a lot more like magazine illustration stuff?
Yeah. What happened was, I started doing some stuff for the New York Times.
Yeah.
I dropped off my portfolio at DC Comics. A friend of mine introduced me, and then like a couple months later, they called me back, and they're like, "Hey, we have this project, maybe you'd like to work on," and they booked me for 5 covers. Because the paintings I was doing at the time were very surreal and strange. And
do you have any of those by any chance?
They might be on my website, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, those works weren't appropriate for, say, the mass market, but for comics, especially for Vertigo, they're publishing like more adult type of stuff. You know, not superheroes, but like fiction.
Edgy, yeah.
So.
What were those covers that you first did?
It was for this book called Fables.
Okay.
Yeah. So that took off, and I did Fables for about 7 years.
covers.
Yeah, I think like 2006 I started getting maybe tired of it. And
So
then,
like 6 years.
yeah, and then 2007 I was like, okay, I gotta find an endpoint, and then finally ended in beginning of 2008, I think. Yeah.
And you were doing Fables this whole time?
Well, yeah, I started doing Fables, and then I did like a run of Batgirl covers, Green Arrow, Batman, did some covers for Marvel, Amazing Fantasy, Runaways.
I find that ironic that you went into SVA, decided you don't want to do cartoon
Yes,
comics.
exactly, yeah. And then that's
you're
what I ended up.
you're being hoarded out by the comic industry.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I did interiors for one story, but I never considered myself a cartoonist because I wanted to concentrate on a single image.
Yeah.
But then being in that industry, you sort of get lumped in together with everything.
Right.
Even though I have huge respect for comics artists, cartoonists, because it's something. I mean, I love reading comics. It's something I wish I could do, but I can't because I'm a painter. I can only do one image at a time. In 2007, I was approached by this design agency, 2x4, to create a mural for the New York Prada Epicenter store. He was looking for an artist or an illustrator to do a graphic novel concept for the wallpaper. Mrs. Prada asked for something more surreal, romantic, sci-fi, historical, architectural, non-linear. I'm like, yes, that's perfect, that's me. Mm-hmm. So I submitted some of my own ideas, just some sketches, and then, oh, this looks really cool. Why don't you start sketching the whole thing? And the mural is a wall 15 feet high and 200 feet long. So I drew this long scroll. It was just this long connected image that went from one end to the other. It was sort of like a little story, and it was just this Mary character looking for her little lamb, and because this guy's wearing this vest that kind of like sheepskin. So anyways, I did that image, and then they were like, oh, we'd like you to do a mural for our fashion show in Milan for the spring-summer collection. I'm like, oh, sure. So I started doing that, and they're like, okay, can you keep making the drawing longer? I think we're going to take some parts of this and put it make fabric prints out of it. I'm like, oh, sure. And then the whole time I'm like, renegotiating my deal, and
They just kept adding
changing.
to it.
Yeah.
Was it still through 2x4 this whole time?
No. Like eventually, I worked directly with their creative director in Prada.
Yeah.
And and then they flew me to Milan to check out the show, and then I put on bags and dresses and everything.
Oh, you didn't even know? You just kind of gave them a print, and they just created all the stuff off of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just sent them the scans, and they ran with it. So I put on shoes and the graphics on the shoe boxes, and then they said, "Oh, now that we have all this stuff, we want to expand upon this world. Let's do an animated film." It was sort of the pinnacle, I think, of anything I could do as a commercial artist, because as an illustrator, you sort of look for three things: money, prestige, and exposure. And this had all three.
Yeah.
So then after that happened, I was like, I can't, once having tasted the fruit, can't go back. So I stopped illustrating. I was looking to stop at the time anyways, and that was, I feel like, the perfect time to exit. So I stopped taking on any jobs, which is funny because once you stop, they want you more.
Yeah.
Right? The very beginning of 2009, I had my first solo gallery show at Jonathan Levine Gallery in New York. It was the height of the financial collapse, but my show still sold out.
Yeah.
It was great, and it sold for really good prices. I had paintings that were, 10, 15, 30, 45, 50 grand. Sold out. It was great. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And but then I hated it. No, I don't.
What did you hate?
I didn't hate the work.
You hated the
I
work.
said I hated the work, but no, I'm just being too blunt about it. But no, I don't hate the work. I like the work. It's just not what I'd like to do. It's not what I want to do at the moment.
Okay.
Right now. So I can't paint like that anymore.
Okay.
So I started doing work I wanted to do, work that I was interested in, and that kept me interested. But this new work is a little more challenging for people. So Yeah, so it's, I do feel like I'm back at square one
Yeah.
in some ways, especially because the art world doesn't know who I am. It's like, I'm just starting out.
Right.
I only had one, well now I've had two gallery shows, but yeah, curators and those types of people. I don't have an MFA, I'm not in that circle.
Right.
I don't have many friends that are painters.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my friends are they're in the creative industries, but they're not in the fine art world.
Yeah.
They're constantly pushing.
Mm-hmm.
So, with design, you have to cater to the whole sort of,
Clients,
yeah. I mean, with fine art, it's the same thing too. But I think if you're talking about being a pure artist,
Yeah.
that's what you're trying to do.
Right. There's plenty of artists that
There's very commercial.
service their
Yeah.
customer
And
well.
the biggest artists do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. But you don't want to fall into that trap.
yeah, I say that now, but who knows?
When the ramen comes back, you'll be like,
I love ramen.
okay, good. Then you're good.
Yeah,
It's the advantage of being Asian. You can just
Yeah.
have top ramen for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter.
I love eating it dry. Sprinkling the seasoning.
You don't even need water bill then.
No, I don't need water.
You don't even need the electricity bill to heat the bowl.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
eat it like a cracker.